The mug was still warm when I picked it up. I start here because this was the moment the story stopped being about exhaustion or misplaced objects or a tired mother miscounting her dishes. It stopped being about me. At 11:42 p.m., my Greenville apartment was quiet. Lemon cleaner in the air, dishwasher humming, baby monitor glowing a soft green. Nora, 4 years old, slept, curled like a woodland creature in her little toddler bed. Everything was normal. Everything was calm. Everything was mine. Except for a ceramic mug that I didn't own. It was still steaming, still warm enough to feel like a palm pressed against mine, sitting at the end of the table where no one sits, where no one has ever sat. It started with a toothbrush, a gray one, adult-sized, unpackaged, dry, sitting in the holder next to mine. I stared at it long enough to manufacture a memory. Probably bought a 2-pack. Probably forgot. Then a new hand towel appeared, thick hotel white, too soft to be anything that I would buy. I chalked it up to exhaustion. Single parent tired rewires the part of your brain that remembers objects. But the third thing resisted explanation. I came home after work, dropped my bag, and froze. A full place setting at the end of the table. Plate, fork, knife, and spoon, all aligned with tidy, confident precision. A glass turned upside down. The chair pushed out slightly, like someone had sat and then stood carefully. Nora colored on the floor. "Did you set this, sweetheart?" She didn't look up. "Don't sit there," she said. I smiled the way parents smile when they're uneasy. "And why not?" "Well, that's his seat." "Whose seat?" She pressed her crayon so hard that it snapped. "He doesn't like it when we ask." She said it like she was reciting something she'd been told. I moved the plate back to the cabinet. The next morning, it was out again, exactly the same. Fork at 90 degrees, glass upside down, chair pulled out. I called the landlord. "Someone's been in here," I said. He sighed the kind of sigh people use when they don't believe you, but they don't want to say it outright. "Third floor, new locks, no alarm triggers. You sure you didn't set that?" "I'm sure," I said. "I'll change the cylinder, just in case," he said. He replaced it that afternoon. Fresh brass, clean turn. I slept easier. Until 3:13 a.m. The chain on the door whispered. Not rattled, tested. Like someone easing a key into the lock and bumping the chain with the gentleness of muscle memory. The refrigerator droned, the dishwasher clicked, the baby monitor hummed. Normal noises became a choir of threats. Then a soft tink, like the faintest, most polite knock. In the morning, the chain was still latched, but the end chair was pulled out 1 inch. Nora wandered out, rubbing her eyes. "He was quiet," she said. "Who?" "Well, the chairman." I dusted the entry mat lightly with flour, stretched sewing floss across the door frame, bought motion sensor cameras, small, foolish things. But small things are all that kept you sane when the big things stop helping. The camera pinged at 1:06 a.m. Motion detected. Living room. I watched the clip. Nothing. Just the couch, the dying plant, the glow from the TV reflecting faintly. Then, right before the clip ended, the cushion dipped, like someone sat. 1 inch, maybe less, but unmistakably downward. When I pressed the cushion, it was faintly warm. "This is my house," I whispered. Something in the kitchen exhaled. They were kind. The kind that means they think you're anxious or overwhelmed. They check the windows, the locks, the door, the chain. No damage, no forced entry, no footprints in the flour. Maybe an old copy of a key, one of the police officers said gently. Maybe ask your landlord. The landlord swore the master keys were kept locked. I'd seen the cabinet. It was tin thin, single latch, the kind of lock a teenager could pick for fun. He swore anyway. I rearranged the table so the end was against the wall. I placed a heavy ceramic mixing bowl where the extra plate kept appearing. Childish solution. The next day, the bowl was in the sink, half filled with water. A sponge beside it, like someone had washed it halfway and then stopped. And in its place, a mug, chipped, white, still warm. "Tell me I'm not going crazy," I said. "You're tired," said my sister on the phone. "Single mom tired. Makes spoons move." "But my spoons aren't sentient," I snapped back. "Come stay with me this weekend, you and Nora." On our way out, at the door, Nora paused and said, "You forgot to set his cup." "We're not setting anything," I responded. She patted the table softly and said, "He'll wait." Later, motion alerts detonated my phone. Entryway, kitchen, living room, a sleeve brushing past the camera, blue, gone too quickly to catch the shape, the soft scrape of a chair leg. I drove home alone immediately, sat in the car watching the feed, my breath fogging the inside of the windshield. Everything looked still in the way that deer look before bolting. Inside, the floss was snapped, the flour wiped smooth, too smooth. The flour had been pushed in a single broad stroke, like someone wiped it with their sleeve. The air felt humid, recently breathed. "I'm calling the police," I said. A man's voice answered in my living room, calm, tired. "Don't," he said. "I won't stay." He stepped into the kitchen light. Blue jacket, boots, clean shaven. Normal, in the most dangerous way. "I didn't know she moved," he said. "The lady before you. I fed her cat when she traveled." He looked around the kitchen with familiarity that hurt. "I used to stay here sometimes, after work, just to unwind. Quiet place. I didn't think anyone minded." He held up a key. "I still had this." He said the cabinet downstairs hadn't always been locked right. He apologized, and he left. The police came again, filed a report. Said it was trespassing, not stalking. Said changing the locks would solve it. The landlord apologized in a way that made it clear he wanted the conversation to end. The locks were changed, a hotel bar added for extra security, extra bolts, extra assurances. For 3 nights I slept. Then, porcelain on wood, a sound as small as politeness. A spoon waited at the end of the table, neatly aligned. Nora patted out, sleep warm, hair messy. "We forgot his spoon," she said. "There is no he," I said. She shook her head softly. "Shh, you'll make him leave." She said it with sadness, not fear. Sadness. The landlord reported that the man wouldn't return. The police said the incident was closed. My sister said stress makes shadows behave. But I found something in the cabinet drawer, that didn't fit any version of that story. A napkin folded neatly with a faint smear of lipstick, a shade I've never worn, and a small note beneath it. Thank you for letting me sit. I crumpled it, threw it away. The next night, another waited in the same place. Same handwriting, same neatness. I didn't tell Nora. The sensible ending is this: a lonely man with a spare key, a misunderstanding, locks fixed, home safe again. That's the version I'm supposed to settle into. But some nights, when I walk past the thrift store, I see a chipped white mug in the window and feel that I'm being watched from the reflection, not the street. Some nights the apartment hums differently, like there's an extra lung in the room. And some nights, before turning out the kitchen light, I find myself resting my palm on the end of the table, not checking, not fearing, acknowledging. The room is full, I whisper. The air always shifts, not a breeze, not movement, just enough warmth to feel like someone leaning forward to listen. And every so often, after I close the drawer, the spoon gives a little polite clink. Not a demand, not a threat, just a question asked in the quietest language. Is his seat ready?